Well, let's start with this one first. This one right here. The title is Freeway Wall, Remnants of a Freeway Wall Extraction. Well, the project began from a series of studies and drawings. It took 3 years in the making to speak with conservators, different installers, find different materials for printing to actually wallpaper the freeway of LA. So if you're flying down the freeway, the idea of if you came across it, it'd look as if this whole 2 chunks of the wall was removed. But then you're in LA, so you're sitting in traffic most of the time. So then when you're stopping, you're driving at 5 miles per hour, you actually see that this is it's just not only a physical construct, but a mental construct of these barriers and walls. I looked at different sites, different freeways, looking at how different freeways disrupt and dissect different neighborhoods. The last freeway built was a 105 freeway, which just displaced hundreds of residents in South Central LA. The best site happened to be on the 10 freeway, just below Soto Avenue, which was perfect because Boyle Heights is there, so that community is just intersected with 10 freeway, the 710, the 60, the 5 freeway. That whole place is in an island of freeways, and that whole community's just been torn and dissected over the years. But when we took down the piece, I wasn't sure how the piece was going to come down. In the end, we ended up using straight wallpaper paste to install the photographic wallpaper after looking at several adhesives. So we weren't sure how it was going to be removed. It came off intact, which gave it endless possibilities to re-exhibit and redisplay it. That's where that lines up. I mean, there's always that, I guess, that challenge of once you create these public interventions, even works from the 70s, like earthworks, it's like they were in a sense made to be taken outside of the gallery so you don't show in the white cube anymore. But the fact that it came off intact, I was still able to show the remnants of it as artifacts, but not only just as artifacts, I get to reinstall it, and it actually has more of a sculptural presence. I didn't want to just suspend it in the air or just, cabling. I actually still wanted to carry on the context of the freeway walls or the retaining walls, so I came up with this installation to create this inverted fence, freeway wall fence. It's away from any of the walls. You could walk behind it and actually see how the piece lifted parts of the concrete from the freeway wall and the existing graffiti. There's this black spray paint line that runs across parts of this whole piece. That's also referenced in the photo, so you can see where it was actually laid. Well, and I think what I enjoyed about the piece, when I did the piece, it was first made to create an actual extraction, as if the wall was removed. And I did that by adding a wallpaper to it. But here, it actually, the remnants of it actually create a wall, in a sense. I think that's an interesting flip. That's pretty good.
You've put walls where there are none. You've appeared to erase walls where they do exist. What's your interest in borders and barriers and the dividers that you either erect or make disappear?
I think about explaining like a whole lifetime of childhood growing up. I guess just, coming across different boundaries and barriers. Well, there's actually physical, man-made structures, geographical place structures where maybe some people live in the valley, a certain class of people live in the valley, and another class lives in the west side or by the beach. Looking at these intersections throughout my life, but not just as my own experience, but also maybe more of an international experience. Even with this exhibit, I think it becomes more about a Chicano experience, a Mexican-American experience, or Mexican diaspora. It's about this experience of immigrations and crossing and transcending different boundaries and barriers. This, in a sense, it could be a metaphor for the Berlin Wall, the peace line in Ireland, the current West Bank situation. I think for me, it's specific. It's made specific in LA, but I think the ideas or notions go beyond just the particular community. I hope that helps.